Good morning, everybody, and welcome back to the Modern Nomad. You're probably watching this video because you want to know how to install an outlet, and it just so happens that I'm installing an outlet today. So, here's how to do it. It should go without saying that I'm not a trained professional. I did not go to school to be an electrician, and I'm not trained to be an electrician. However, I've installed about 1,500 of these things, and so far I've been successful every time with no fires. And hopefully we don't start having fires with this one. So I'm fairly confident in my work here, but yeah, if you burn your bus down, I can't be held liable, I'm sorry. So when we were wiring the bus, I made these quite a bit longer than they should be. So we're gonna go ahead and trim these down a bit. So, probably right there, looks good. You can always pull a little bit more out if we need to. I've got a little bit of extra slack stored up here. So for the bus, the wall is not quite thick enough for a typical wall outlet box. So I went out and got a bunch of these guys, and unfortunately they didn't have them at my local Home Depot, so I had to order them on Amazon. I'll put a link in the description down below for you. But these guys are shallow boxes. These are for remodeling older homes that had these shallow style boxes. Technically they're not up to code anymore, but they're perfect for a bus build. So we're gonna go ahead and just gently slice open our Romex wire here. We're gonna be careful not to cut the wire inside, and we're gonna be careful not to cut our finger. Just go ahead and peel this back here. So just to get some basic terms out of the way here that I'm going to be using in this video, we have 3 strands of wire in this Romex cable. So we have this white one, we have this bare cable, and we have this black one. Now, the technical terms for these guys here, the white one is called neutral. There's 0 volts traveling through this guy. It's basically like a ground or a negative in a DC circuit. This black one is going to be what's called your hot, and that's going to be where your voltage is coming from. It's very similar to a positive side in a DC circuit. Now, the confusing part about AC and DC power is in a DC circuit, usually the negative is black, but in an AC circuit, the hot wire is black. So don't get them confused. So yes, for the purposes of this video, neutral, ground, and hot. So now that we've got this out of the way here, we're gonna start stripping the wires. So if you take a look on the back of your plug here, you're gonna see there's a little, man, my gloves are really torn up. There's a little gauge down there. I'm not sure if you can really see it, I can't quite tell. But right here, and you'll see it on your outlet, there's what's called a strip gauge. So what that is for is you line it up with your cable, and you put your cable to the end here, and right on the edge here, that's where you're gonna strip it. So, go ahead and do this. Yes. Okay, so we got those stripped. Okay, so we're going to do the same thing to the wiring on this side here. This set of wires is going to the breaker panel, and this set of cables is going to another outlet downstream. Okay, so now that we have both sets of wires stripped, we're going to take a look at our outlet here, and we're going to go ahead and connect the wires. So when installing the wires on here, if you take a look at the screws on the side of the outlet, most of the time they're going to be backed out already, but you want to see the direction that it turns in. Righty-tighty, lefty-loosey. So with this screw, it's going to be rotating this direction when we seat the wire. So when we make the hook, we want to make sure that the hook is going this direction. The insulated part of the wire being down here, and then it makes a hook, and then the end of the wire. And then we're just going to connect that onto this. It is extremely important that you make the hook the same direction that you're going to be tightening down the screw, so that it doesn't push the wire out from under the screw and cause any short circuits. Right, so we are going to go through here, and we are going to go ahead and do these. Okay, so to wire this up, we need to connect the white wire to the side with the bigger eyeball on the face. We're going to call this the smiley face. So we'll put the white wire on the bigger eyeball, and then we'll put the black wire on the smaller eyeball. When it's all said and done, it should look like this. You should make sure the wire is firmly seated underneath these screws. Same thing on the other side there. So you might be asking, well, now we have two grounds. We have this ground and we have this ground, but we only have one on the outlet. So what can we do about that? Well, it is extremely important to have a ground in place, and it's even more important to have a ground that works properly. You'll see a lot of people on YouTube who just combine these two wires together, twist them, and then put them around the ground. That is one way to do it. It's not the proper way to do it. It's not the way that I would feel comfortable doing it myself. But what I'm doing here is I'm just taking a little piece of copper from one of the pieces of wire that I snipped off earlier. So we're just gonna get that a little snipperoo. So I'm gonna take this wire, we're gonna make our little hook, and we're gonna do the same thing we did with the other two wires. So we're just gonna make sure that thing is nice and snug on there. Okay, so we are going to line up all the ground cables so that they are flush with each other. We're gonna snip off what we need to snip off here. So let's go there and there. So we're gonna take them, we're gonna bunch them together, and we're just gonna twist them. Okay, now we're gonna take one of these guys and we're gonna just cap it off, just like that. Cool. Now, just as an extra precautionary measure, I like to just put a little bit of heat or electrical tape on the hot side. Okay, we are ready to pop this guy in. But we have an outlet. I do just want to show you guys one more thing. It is kind of important to this as well. I don't have this outlet hooked up yet, so I'm going to go show you on a different outlet that I have hooked up. But when you install an outlet like this, you want to make sure that you test the outlet with one of these guys. I'll put a link in the description below, but you just want to make sure that everything was wired up correctly. It will tell you right on the little thing right here what all the different lights mean. But on this specific tester, the two orange lights are the correct way to go about it. Thank you all for watching this video. If you liked it, make sure you give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel down below. We are going to be making more videos just like this in the future. I'm also going to be talking about installing the breaker panel sometime soon. So keep an eye out for that one, and I'll see you in the next video.